an item that we discussed Monday night with, but it has to do with the municipal grants. When we were considering one of them with regards to the pool, there was some discussion about the other 3 pools that weren't benefiting. And I think we ought to have either in community services or in the council, a goal where we meet with the 4 pools and see if there are opportunities where we can partner with them and help out where we can and maybe gain some benefits for the residents of Bowie. So I'd like to add that as a goal for the coming year. If there's
Can you add a little clarity for my sake, Councilman, what that looks like?
I'm sorry.
He asked for clarity.
He asked for
some more
consensus?
clarity in regards to what that means.
Oh.
What he asked for, Mr. Brady, is for some clarity on your objective that you're proposing.
Oh, clarity, I'm sorry.
Right.
I couldn't tell if that's clarity or consensus. So just to have a discussion with the 4 entities to see how, they are independent and separate from the city. They aren't any of the divisions of the city, but at the same time, there's maybe an opportunity where we and the citizens of Bowie could benefit either through we help them do something and they provide like swimming opportunities for seniors or something like that. Just have a discussion to see if there's any kind of a partnership that can be developed between the city and the 4 pools in the coming years. Is that added clarity or?
If I could jump in.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. So it sounds like council member, as far as actual items that we'd be asking staff to do in this objective, we would just be saying schedule meetings with the 3 remaining pools with the goal of identifying their needs so that the council can plan to support them in whatever way they need if they have any particular infrastructure needs or financial needs or anything like that. But it basically just boils down to directing staff to schedule meetings with each of those pools to have that conversation, it sounds like.
So we don't need an objective for the council?
We can absolutely add that as an objective. I was just trying to clarify the actual task that's happening. It sounds like meetings with the goal of discussing their financial needs. I mean, is that basically the?
If I may, excuse me, if I may, Councilman Brady, I think the objective then would be for, as Councilman Burestev, and as you stated, that we simply develop an objective for the city staff to set up meetings to understand what the needs are at those pools so that we can bring that back to the council to discuss how we may be able to handle them. Is that pretty much where you are?
That's acceptable, yes.
All right. So,
Okay.
well, I agree that it isn't something that should be in your council thing, your council division objective, if it's an assignment to the community services division department.
Right.
So it ought to be either, I would choose to put it in the community outreach and arts and events division. So we want them to reach out to the remaining swing and racket operations, right, in the city.
Well, actually, I would meet with all 4 of them to see if there's any kind of a program or any kind of partnership that we, the city, can meet and work with them as a group. We already have the grant going to Point of Ridge, yes.
So it'll read as follows: meet with the remaining with all of the pool operations within the city to ascertain if there's an opportunity for partnership in the future.
That's right.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you. Thank you, City Manager. Are there any other?
I'm not done.
Suggestions? Okay, please go right ahead.
Sure.
Councilman Brady.
And second, we really did nothing with regards to the objective for FY25B, which is the economic development. And I'd like to see that repeated in the coming year. We need to move on that, start working with that. I know we've got some activities going on with regards to our economic development coordinator. So, but I think we ought to repeat that. And then the last item, and it's a bit of a personal one, and I'm putting it here only just as a comment. It doesn't have to be a goal or anything. But if memory serves me, at the old City Hall, we had a POW MIA flag with the other 4. And I'd like to get one installed with what we have here. It's been a long tradition, and we've had a very solid partnership with the veterans organizations, and I think we ought to be displaying that. So it's not a goal or anything, it's just a request. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Do any other council members have any additional objectives they would like added at this point?
I do, Mr. Mayor.
Councilwoman Rogers, go right ahead.
Thank you very much. I have one to review and update the City of Bowie's strategic plan. Strategic plan should be ongoing and continuous. So I have that. The other one probably aligns with economic development, but I guess it depends on where we're going with this one, which is the reimagination of the Bowie Town Center. So I know it's an assignment within the Economic Development Committee. I just don't know what's coming out of that assignment and whether or not we need to have it as an objective so that, so it may be under the Economic Development Plan,
It
but I
is.
just wanted to put it out there.
Well, he's coming up tonight.
Okay,
And there will
good.
be an opportunity to talk about that then, and he can expound on that right there at that time.
Okay. One other is, I had some conversations with city staff, and I know Councilman Brady and I talked about doing some town halls or listening sessions around the city of Bowie, having the mayor with us, and then each district have the council support us. I think that's something that we as a council should do more of, which is engage with the community that we represent. And so I do think that in order to get staff support to help us with these town hall meetings, that we do something as a council on engaging with the community.
Yes, Councilwoman Rogers, I think that's a great idea. City Manager, you know, we hosted those previously, where we recorded them, where we went out into the community and had a town hall in each district with the at-large and the myself, the mayor, and others. So, Councilwoman Rogers, I think that's a great objective to get more information and more contact with our constituents.
Okay, thank you, and that's all I have.
Okay, City Manager, that's good.
Well, I just got a couple of questions. So with regard to reviewing and updating the Bowie's strategic plan, so everybody, that's consensus there? Okay, also with regard to displaying the POW MIA flag, everybody's consensus?
I think we have, you're right. I needed to ask, just in general, is there a consensus for the POW MIA flag?
Okay. Just want to make sure. Okay, got it. Thank you. And now the listening sessions that we had 6 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever.
Right.
So we want to try to schedule one of those once a quarter or twice a year, what?
I think it would be better if we're looking at doing all 4, that we kind of separate them and we do at least 2 per district in a year. I mean, if that meets with the needs of the council, and that's just my take on that. And council, please feel free to chime in if you feel differently.
I know in years past, one year we did it where we had first quarter of the calendar year, we were in District 1. and had a council meeting in District 1. In the second quarter, it was District 2, third quarter was District 3, and in fourth quarter, it was District 4, and then it stopped.
Well, I mean, considering how difficult it is sometimes to match everybody's calendars up, I think the quarterly effort would be what I would, I think we ought to try, and using using District 1 through 4, or we can go 4 through 1. I mean, so one, we could do a quarterly, and starting with District 1 through the rest of the districts by number. Is that okay? Yeah. All right, got it.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, can I just chime in on something real quick?
Go ahead, Councilman Steph.
Thank you, sir. On the question of the POW MIA flag, I want our intent to also reflect the fact that this is a fairly standard practice when it comes to government buildings, to often have these flags displayed. I really don't want to get into any more flag controversy than we need. And so I just want to make sure that our intent reflects that there will be the United States flag, the POW MIA flag, end of list. We're not going to get into any arguments about any other flags, just these two, as they are a recognized standard practice. Is that something that my colleagues can get on board with?
I agree.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. I think you can make that as a note for the record, please, City Manager.
All right, I understand, Mr. Mayor, got it.
All right, back to you. Any other requests or discussion from council members regarding the city council?
All right, then, in that case.
If not, if I could, City Manager, I would like to identify a ombudsman or a point of contact. I think we currently work with AWILDA when we have needs or questions. I know you're readily available as well. But from a council perspective, do we need to name someone specifically that we contact for things we need or want, or just simply contact many of us can call the city manager or any of the staff, as it's saying, but should the first point of contact be with a Wilder and her staff?
Well,
The city manager, you can chime in.
sure thing. Yes, the city clerk and her assistant are there to provide direct support to the council in general. Also, if there is an issue within regard to some action that, somebody has an issue with trash or street lights or that sort of thing, council members are welcome to go directly to the department director. All I ask is that you copy me on that, and the department directors will do their job in response, since we're all one team. And of course, if anybody's not getting, it feels there's some immediate action needed or something to redress, please call me or my assistant manager, and we'll respond immediately.
All right, thank you, city manager. Is that good with all the rest of the council? Hearing no issues, please, city manager, go right ahead.
All right, thank you, sir. So the next division, if I can use that term, is the city manager's division, and it's on page 51 of the proposed budget. The city manager is the chief administrative officer of the city. City manager supervises all staff and is responsible for the effective management of all financial and administrative actions in the city. The city manager is appointed and serves at the pleasure of the city council. The manager is responsible for implementing all policy matters established by the city council and the enforcement of all city ordinances. The city manager keeps the council informed through a variety of reporting procedures that assist the council in its policy-making role. In 2025, we conducted team building training amongst the senior managers, and that was completed. And we've had several very productive sessions using the same consultant that we use for the city council's strategic planning. For 2026, we're going to continue that effort, looking to have a team building session in February 2026, at least. We have no significant budget adjustments here. We have 8.5 full-time employees, the city manager, assistant manager. This is also where we house the grants operation, the grants manager, and the project management associated with housing and community development, and particularly the Melford issue, grant writers, grants interns, and executive office managers. The salary and wages are $1,113,700, $330,100 in fringe benefits. We have $489,500 in municipal grants, including the Community Development Block Grant to provide financial assistance for home repairs and income or to income qualified seniors. And that's the bulk of the spending associated with that. Of course, we do have some professional services where we pay our electric and natural gas contracts, and also fair housing training associated with the CDBG money. Any questions regarding that division? If not,
Any questions from council? Go ahead.
I'm done, sir. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay. I would just be encouraged in asking if the council has any questions or anything at this point. City manager? If not, please continue, city manager.
You bet. So the next division is on page 53, which is the Human Resources Division within the City Manager's Office. The Human Resources Office provides service, support, and staffing solutions to city operations, taking the lead on vital areas such as talent acquisition, employee and labor relations, benefits administration, performance management, and compensation analysis, and is the primary objective of this office to ensure that the city of Bowie maintains the most talented and highly engaged and well-equipped staff as possible. As I've mentioned before on several occasions, the toughest thing that we do is in this environment, current environment, is recruit qualified employees. Even though people, there seems people are concerned about the economy and what's coming up in the future. Well, the reality is right now there's less than a 4% unemployment rate. And when you have that unemployment rate that low, it's really hard to find competent people, and that's, so we really have to be aggressive and innovative. So the objective for 2025, they implemented a new employee performance evaluation system within Bamboo HR, and that was completed. And so there was a significant automation of the HR systems using Bamboo, which is a SHRM-supported and endorsed software. And we also wanted to conduct 10 employee wellness-related events by June 30, 2025. 5 events have been already completed. HR is on schedule to complete the others on time by the end of this fiscal year. C, migrate all open enrollment and employee benefit management processes to Bamboo HR, and that was completed this year also. Looking at the performance workload indicators, there are no significant changes there. The objective for 2026, to enhance the employee onboarding process by identifying and creating required employment training programs within human resources management by August 31st, 2025. We want to get better at bringing people on board, especially also we want to get better at when we promote people as supervisors so they get some training so that they know what they're doing when they're managing and leading people. If you look at the military, every time somebody gets ready to become a different leader, there's a training program that sets them up for that, and we want to get better at that. Want to create and host financial and retirement planning seminars for our employees and their families by October 31st, 2025. When we have a defined contribution retirement program where people can can build a significant pile of money if they do it right and take advantage of the multipliers, and we want to educate people in that respect. Also, conduct 10 employee wellness-related events, and by June 2026. If you go to page 54, you'll see that that there are 6 full-time employees in HR. The big expenses are $587,900 for salary and wages, $185,006 for fringe benefits. We spend a significant amount of money on professional services and recruitment. The number 104 is that number. I propose that we raise that to 115,000. We've learned since we printed this document that the actual cost of recruiting for last year was at approximately that number, and we don't see any decrease in recruitment. We'll certainly plan to do what we have been doing because we have a 10 to 15% or better turnover quarterly because people move around a lot, especially young people. So it's the way that is. So travel and training, $61,000, and those are the major expenses for the HR department. Any questions regarding that?
City manager, a question for you. When you perform the evaluation of making sure that our salaries are in line with other municipalities and other things, is that covered in this budget to doing an extensive analysis of our rates compared to what the typical rate is going now in the public?
Well, we did a study 3 years ago, which compared our salaries with the surrounding cities, and we adjusted, and we made adjustments to keep us competitive. And by general standard, we do that every 5 years. So 2 years out, we're going to be looking to do it again. But we are competitive with the rest of the areas, with Annapolis, with Greenbelt, and those people. And as far as pay goes, and we also with the contract with the General Order Police, I made sure that we were competitive with our immediate neighbors also, especially, Laurel and those people, so that, with this shortage of police officers, we don't have anybody stealing ours for simple money. We do have a competitive pay plan, similar to the military pay tables there, and we have a competitive defined benefit retirement for our police officers and a lot of other things. But we, with our people, our pay is comparable. And when necessary, if we have to hire somebody at the mid-level or a little bit higher, depending on competition, we do it. Because, and it's really tough with the IT business. The IT is cybersecurity and network management. We try to hire in-house. When we bring people out from the public, we have to pay competitively, and we believe we can compete.
Okay, city manager, I asked that because it is such a rapidly changing environment, but it sounds like you have a good sense of what's going on in the employment arena. I would ask that you continue to do that and make sure, even if it's a line item, that somebody just makes sure that they do a random sampling of those areas. It sounds like you're currently doing that for different positions, but I would recommend that you be able to do that as well, be it IT or public safety, a random sample of what's going on, okay?
Sure thing.
All right, I'm sorry I took a moment on that. Council members, any other questions?
No,
Hearing none. Oh, Councilman Brady, please go right ahead.
I was speaking for my colleagues. There are no questions from us.
All righty, thank you. City Manager?
All right then, thank you, sir. So next on page 56 is the division that addresses elections. And for those who aren't aware, this activity provides administrative and secretarial and clerical services for city elections and voter registration, records keeping, and furnishes voting and registration information to Bowie residents and other government bodies and agencies. The objective of this activities are to encourage all eligible residents of the city to register to vote in all city elections, provide adequate information to residents, and continually improve and update the city's voting regulatory and regulations and records. The objectives for 2025 were to work with the city attorney in reviewing and updating the city's election laws and charter codes. That's been, we completed up 25% of that, and that's a continuous process that the city clerk and our city attorney are working on, and that will be carried over into next year. B, work with the County Board of Elections on updating the city street list and register voters as homes are built in Melford and South Lake developments and now Mill Branch. Its objective is 40% complete. Mill Branch's development is actively building, and so we have to wait a little bit to see how that evolves so we can get the accurate information. And the first review of comparative list will be with the county will be completed in early 2025, and it will be completed in its entirety by June 2025. C, evaluate new election machines and explore the feasibility of including an electronic filing option for elections reporting requirements by June 30, 2025. This objective is 25% complete. Information was gathered from surrounding municipalities on systems that were used. A meeting with the city's Board of Elections is scheduled for February 2025 to review the gathered information and prepare final recommendations for the City Council. This objective will be complete by endeavor by June 2025. The objective for 2026 is to survey other municipalities for rates paid to election board and election judges, and reevaluate the city's polling locations for possible new locations. There are no significant budget changes. There are no elections this year. The big expense would be, this year, would be $1,000 for procurement of items such as registration cards, books, and registration by email, by mail forms. Any questions regarding the elections components of the city manager's office?
City Manager, if I may. Well, I will let my Councilwoman Rogers go first. Please, Councilwoman, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I just have a brief question, and thank you, Mr. Mayor. Does the changes in the federal level election laws impact our local municipal elections?
No. Certain aspects of the federal election laws we have to follow, in the sense of having the polling places available and the polling times and things, but municipalities could put in their charters different aspects for our elections of how they're handled.
Including identification?
That is followed by the state. So if the state does not require still for ID to be provided, we do have to follow that one.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other council members with a question or at this time? Hearing none, I would like to ask City Manager if we can include at least one voter registration drive within the year. I think it would be good for the city to reach out and try to get as many people actually engaged in the process and make sure we get as many people as we can reach to register to vote. Is that something that staff is capable of doing without making any major changes to the budget, or could you add something in to do so, City Manager?
Well, let us think think about, war game this a little bit, Mr. Mayor. We can certainly do it, but just a matter of how. We have quite a few events coming up. We have the parade. We got Bowie Fest coming up, International Fest.
Right.
Maybe we could wrap a voter's registration component into those events. But let me talk with some folks and come back to you on that one. All right?
Yeah, if you could, City Manager, because I'm sure there are groups that would probably even volunteer to do that at those places. But thank you. Yeah, just give me some feedback, if that's okay with council.
I agree, Mr. Mayor. I think it's a great idea to use the opportunities of events to encourage people to
Yes.
register to vote.
Okay. Are my other colleagues in agreement with that?
Yes.
Thank you, Councilman Brady. Councilman Estelle?
No objection here.
You good? Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good initiative.
All right, thank you, Councilman Truesdale. All right, moving on. If there are no other questions. Go ahead, City Manager.
Right. So the next thing would be page 57, legal services. This office provides legal services and advice to the city council and city staff. The city attorney attends council meetings, represents the city in legal proceedings, both in court, administrative agencies, and reviews contracts, leases, covenants, and prepares ordinances and resolutions. This office provides advice to the city and state legislation, and where required. The city retains several law firms with differing specialties. We have a city attorney, we have someone who does personnel, somebody who handles communications, and so it's varied. The number listed below, $266,500 should cover our costs based on research and talking with the city attorney and others. Just as a matter of transparency, the rate associated with the city attorney will go up 5.5%, so on a higher rate. And for the record, it hasn't, this is the first increase in several years. So that's pretty much it for legal services. We can certainly answer questions or research questions if you have them.
Council members, any questions or comments at this time? Councilman Estelle?
I'll just dive in with one comment, which is that legal services has, in the last few years in particular, really earned their fees back for the city. The advice that we've given some of the class action suits in particular that we joined have really been paying extraordinary dividends for taxpayers. And so I just wanted to throw that comment out there, even with the 5.5% increase. We've made some serious money back for the taxpayers through this office. So just want to throw that there as a comment.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other council members with any questions or any comments at this time? Hearing none, we'll move on, City Manager.
Very good, sir. The next is the Communication Division, page 58 in the proposed budget. This division is responsible for providing residents with current information on city events, services, policies through monthly newsletters, press releases, city's website, social media, cable television, and also video productions, which is something we've gotten a whole lot better at. As some will remember, in 2017, there was an upheaval in the, when we were going to do the marketplace development, people complained about not being made aware. Subsequently, of course, that was my first city council meeting that night. So we reorganized the communications division, added people to it so that we could cover radio, television, social media, and we have a staff that's supportive and does that. So the objectives for 2025 was by February 2025 to implement the closed captioning for the city council meetings and videos and other videos produced by the city. captioning of live council meetings began in November 2024, and it's continued, and this objective was completed. By September the 30th, 2024, develop material and strategies for educating and engaging new residents in South Lake and other new city neighborhoods. Outreach to South Lake and other areas in the city is ongoing. The staff attended several community meetings with the police department and promoted city services, Alert Bowie, and community involvement in South Lake and other communities throughout 2024. That objective was complete. Complete the transition from .org to .gov. That is an ongoing task and will carry over until next year. We expect to have that completed by January 2026. That is a joint operation between the IT department and the communications, and it's just a lot of work, but we're going to get to it. Going to do it by January of next year. Conduct monthly training sessions for departmental staff that will strengthen their outreach efforts. This will include classes in the basic website updating, search engine optimization, creating winning graphics, and writing engaging copy for newsletters. The communications team has provided classes in basic website updating and best practices for dynamic websites and plans more course offerings in the second half of FY 2025 to enhance each department's outreach efforts. If you look at the workload, you'll see that this is one of those areas where things just increase. Hopefully we'll have more people signed up for Bowie, Alert Bowie from 10.5 to 11.8, hopefully, and you'll see slight increases in most of the columns, including the social media posts. And if you look at the objectives for 2026, would be to expand the ability to provide more video coverage of city events, particularly those held outdoors, by deploying more outdoor-friendly and portable equipment for outdoor shoots. Work with community services, planning and sustainability, and public works departments to produce a series of videos for each that educate about policies and services in an engaging manner. Improve accessibility of city website through increased adherence to federal accessibility standards, ongoing audits, staff training, and redesign of features that are not accessible to the visually impaired. Work with the Public Works Department to produce an updated guide to solid waste collection services. As we all know, no division touches base with the residents more than the solid waste division, with collection twice a week, recycling once a week, and composting once a week, plus the yard pickup once a week. So that's very important and critical. Establish an ongoing program for the communication vision that provides after hours and weekend support for all city programs, service outages, and other planned situations requiring communication assistance outside the regular work hours. Assume all responsibilities for the management of the Bowie public access channel, to include training, programming, scheduling, and working with Bowie residents to produce content for the channel. Significant budget changes includes addition of one FTE studio coordinator, grade X112 at $81,314. We propose that the FTEs for communication go through from 6.6 to 7.6. Just for the record, when I arrived here, I think there was one person in communications. So we really boasted that so we can communicate with our residents. That's really important. Flipping over to page 60, you'll see that the salaries and wages are $619,800. Fringe benefits $223,500. We pay significant Have some contractual services for advertising, printing, $45,000, meeting streaming, $1,770, and closed captioning and training at $19,000 for registration fees. So, and there's $17,000 material and supplies. Okay, so we have $74,000 for machinery and equipment, which includes the video equipment for video productions, for city government outreach and public access channel. And funding for these items is through a grant for the city's 2 cable providers. Equipment needed includes television cameras, tripods, camera control units, equipment for video production van, computers, battery backups, and backup units. Any questions regarding the communications divisions?
I will open the floor first to my colleagues, and I see Councilwoman Rogers may have a question.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to ask for some information around the Bowie City Services app that we already have in place. Could you get more information about it to the council? Thank you.
Certainly, and good
Thank you.
evening, council. We have an application, it's called Public Stuff, that is reachable from our website. It's right on the homepage at the very top. It just says Request a Service. And there is also a mobile app that accompanies that can be downloaded from one of the app stores, and it's just My Bowie MD that basically takes you to the same place. And any resident can submit a request for service, street light outages, pothole repair, whatever it is, through that system. Looking at the data recently over the last month, it seems to average, the last month was about 950, and we seem to average right around that every month requests. Staff are also using it internally to log requests that come in other ways. So if you need a special pickup, you can either submit it through the service request system or just call and they'll log it. And then that system creates a report that's given to the drivers to do the special pickups on a Wednesday. It gives them basically a route to do it. And we have probably 50% of what we get in is for refuse and recycling requests. And then you have street lights. And overall, Public Works has about 80 to 90% of the requests, which confirms what the city manager was saying, that refuse and recycling touches most everyone. And then other requests can be submitted, for each department. Code would be one of the others that is popular beyond the refuse and recycling. Did that answer the basic question, or do you have more specific questions?
It did answer the basic question. Then the next question is around whether or not there should be funding available in FY 2026 to enhance the system or promote it more within the city of Bowie.
We did not include money for marketing of the system or anything like that for FY 26. I believe what's going to happen with our IT department, they're leading an effort for kind of smart cities, looking overall at all of the various applications and systems that we have. Are they effective? Can they talk to each other and share information? And can we generate reporting out of them? After that, for FY 27, I expect that we would be asking for funding for a new service request system that is, let's just say, more advanced than the one we have now, that would take advantage of AI and be able to return more information to anyone requiring or using it. And a little more sophisticated app would be what we're looking for.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilmember Staff.
Thank you, sir. this may not actually be relevant to make as a budget objective for communications, but to what extent have we had any thoughts around having kind of a one-stop shop, whether it's a phone number or a public-facing email address where residents can just send the email or make the call and they get directed wherever they need to be, including potentially to whoever it is who would direct them outside the city, because I guarantee we'll get calls for things that have, nothing to do with us and a lot to do with BG&E or something. Is that something that has come up at all in communications, or is there another tree I should
I mean, I guess
go bark at?
I would say the phone number is the 262-6200 number. Everybody knows that. I would think that if we have a new service request system, we would look for one that you could even text a request through it to a number. And we do have a public info@cityofbowie.org that goes to me and my team that handles kind of general requests. We're seeing more of that stuff coming through social media than anywhere else, though, right now.
Interesting.
And then the 2344 number for Public Works is the central number for everything to do with Public Works and utilities, streets, utilities, and refuse.
Gotcha. That first number that you mentioned, that's the number to just City Hall, right? That takes you through the normal, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I'm thinking about something even more direct, because very often, when you call in, you don't necessarily know who's handling your problem. When you listen to the menu, it's not always obvious to a layperson. So maybe, I don't know if this belongs under communications, but one thing that I would ask the city manager's office, wherever that needs to be assigned, to look at is how we can identify either one phone number or one email address that we can publicize as kind of the place to go. And it might take a little bit, because I realize it's one thing to have a phone number, but you got to have someone who staffs it. You got to figure out who owns it, where requests go, how it gets routed. But I think that'd be something that I'd like to start looking at. As the world gets more complicated, I think, we would do ourselves a lot of favors by trying to make things as frictionless as possible, and residents reach out to us with requests.
We certainly take a look at that.
All right, thank you, Councilmember. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over your city manager.
Yeah, we certainly take a look at that. The email concept is, because whoever would be receiving it would then plug it into the right system so that it could be addressed. But we'll take a look. We'll get back to you.
And in the
Thank
event,
you.
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Councilmember.
No, thank you. In the event that I'm potentially introducing solutions to non-existent problems, I mean, what's your professional opinion, Una, about how we're receiving requests right now and our ability to kind of handle those requests? You mentioned social media is up a lot. You're getting some through the application. Are you monitoring at all, like what's coming in through the website and whether people are like having an easy time or not putting in service requests directly online?
I will say about the current service request system that it is dated. It's called Public Stuff. It was acquired by a company named Acela, and since they acquired it, they have not been updating it. So I believe that there is room for improvement in the system itself. And I would say from the data and the reports that I looked at that our residents are not utilizing it as much as they certainly could be. Now, one could say that there aren't problems, so maybe they don't need to, that everything is running perfectly smoothly. But, I think there is room. A lot of these applications are using chat bots or an AI you just type in the question and it searches the website, returns the information that it finds on the website, and then says, does this satisfy your question, or do you need to talk to a person, or do you want to submit a service request? And so I see opportunities there to kind of blend all that together in whatever we get going down the road.
Mr. Estelle, it would be a good idea for us to get a more current and useful website software or access. But there are about 3 or 4 ways that the residents contact us right now. The Public Works Department has one number for everybody calling in, and there is like a catcher on a baseball team. That's being directed into the system, to streets, to solid waste division, utilities, and it works. It works. And now the people who are taking all this, answering all those questions, they may feel overworked, but that's how we distribute things. The other way is through you all, as you all know. I mean, through your systems that you have set up. And I'm not sure, there are some residents who are never going to go to a website. I'm not going to be guys, because they like to talk to somebody, or they're in contact with you. And so that works really well, because you all contact us and we react immediately. And then there's the phone. There are some people who, I don't know who I need to talk to, but they're going to call Alice at the front desk and then get directed that way. So right now, as from my perspective, I hardly ever get anything surfacing to my level about somebody who didn't get the satisfaction they needed from trying one of those methods of contacting us. But certainly we should modernize our automated system, especially so that we can, receive email type or virtual assignments and somehow using the text messaging, since that's such a common way of communicating these days. So I'll need to say anything.
And I'm sorry that I'm taking up so much time on this, but this is now a $1 million program, and I was one of the big advocates of making this a much larger program, so I feel like I have an obligation to really drill in. When it comes to the social media, what is our kind of standard practice for, we post something about, hey, there's an event going on Saturday, and then we get like comments from people who are like, why is my trash not picked up? How do we approach that? What is our current practice?
So it depends. For the social media accounts like Facebook, X, and Instagram, we monitor those fairly closely. And if there is something actionable on there, we will respond directly to the resident or give them the information they need. And we use our social media management application called Hootsuite, that it kind of consolidates all the comments and direct messages we get. And for example, during the snowstorm, the January snowstorm especially, we probably had over 100 comments that came in there. And we would just take them in batches of 10 or so, send them right to streets, get immediate answers, and we would respond immediately that way, or as quickly as we could. So I think the immediacy of social media works in those kind of situations. But there's also a lot of conversation, as you know, going on Nextdoor. Nextdoor is crafted to be a conversation place for neighborhoods. It is not set up as a government for us to manage it in the same way that we can the other ones. So for that, we use it as a listening kind of tool and kind of an early warning system. If a conversation is going on out there about something, then we'll share that information, for example, with the police department or with the department that it relates to. And sometimes we'll post back a general comment, but as an agency, we can't reply to individual comments on Nextdoor.
I think it's important to point out that we are not monitoring our social media accounts 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Occasionally, someone will post something that has urgency associated with it in terms of the communication. And when we get to it the next day, we've lost the timeliness. I think people need to recognize when they have an urgent situation, they have something that needs more immediate attention, they should reach out to the phone numbers, the general contact that way, that's going to get them the satisfaction that they need in terms of contacting somebody immediately rather than utilizing social media. It feels like it has immediacy to it, but it's regulated by the amount of time when we have staff looking at it. We're not monitoring it every minute.
No, that makes complete sense. And that does kind of get to my earlier interest in having like a one number or a one email, not only because we can affix it to absolutely every bit of communication we put out there, right? Whether it's in the form of a QR code or whatever, however we would do that in the future. We make it real easy, we make it real memorable, but we also make it connect to whatever systems are available to residents after hours. Right now we have the call center. But that would be of interest. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilman. Any other council members before I go? Councilmember Brady?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just a brief, it's kind of a follow-up to, which one is it? The objective B is with regards to outreach to South Lake and other newer areas of the city. Very briefly, can you describe what outreach we do when someone buys an existing home in an established neighborhood? Do we do any kind of outreach to them, or is it relying on their stepping into the city and saying, hey, I just bought a house here?
You're probably referring to what we used to do. We used to send out a letter, if you remember back in the old days. We would get a list of sales, and we could send a letter welcoming them, inviting them into City Hall. Right. We don't have access to that information anymore. So no, we do not do anything proactive to individuals that buy a house in the city, but we do go out to events and things like that in neighborhoods. Melford has something coming up this month that we'll have a presence at that. It's later this month. It's just something for their residents, and we'll give out all sorts of information about the city at that.
Right. What reminded me is years and years and years, I mean, probably decades, they used to have welcome wagon. They bring a basket when you bought a house, and they'd welcome you to the community, but that's a long, long line. Yeah. I knew I'd get someone to respond to that. But I'm wondering if there's not an opportunity, and maybe this is something that might need state law change or something, or have that notification be included when people go to settlements on houses that are existing in Bowie, have something that provides them with the information, or has the postcard that they can mail to us to let us know, so we can set up communications with them. A different way of implementing that might be helpful. So thank you.
And Councilman Brady, just to follow up on that, it may be possible, maybe when we have people come in and set up for registration, for water use or something like that, where they have to put the deposit and get their names and all of that, that may be a sign for those moving into, at least the ones that are on city water, to be able to get in contact with them. Go ahead, please.
We do have a welcome packet that they have at the front desk that they will hand out to anyone that inquires about it. But actually getting the new customer list from finance is a good idea, I think. Send something to them.
Sounds good. Okay, great. Now, my city manager, I'd like to go back to page 59 and just a general question. That is, with the studio coordinator, is that something that will limit the time that the studio can be used, or will he just be coordinating who's using it and for what purpose?
So the goal, right now the studio is open 4 days a week. The goal with this position would be to expand the hours. We don't have any Friday hours, and we don't have any Saturday hours. So part of this will be more coverage. The other thing is we have a part-time person in the studio, plus we have a full-time person in Mark Patterson, and Mark's expertise is being called being requested more often outside the studio to support other staff or meetings or things like that. So this will provide us enough staffing to manage all the requests that we're getting.
Okay, so we will be able to have expanded hours or extended hours potentially on different days?
Yes, that's the plan.
Okay. Thank you so very much. Any other questions from council? Hearing none, back to you, City Manager.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. There was a handout updated on the business operations, which it would be on page 62. The Business Operations Division is responsible for the managing crucial and high-profile administrative functions. These include negotiating and monitoring the city's cable franchise, telecommunications and annexation agreements. Additionally, the division manages the city's utilities and energy efficiency projects, playing a key role in negotiating and monitoring procurement contracts in different organizations. The division also provides security services for city halls at main front desk. Serving as a liaison to various federal, state, county agencies, as well as Maryland utility companies, the division handles unique and sensitive issues directed by the city manager. Furthermore, it provides centralized support to all city offices such as office supplies, printing, graphics, and mail services. This organization was organized in 2017-18 timeframe, and specifically, the division director and her people are required to have an effective point of contact with all the agencies and organizations, public agencies or quasi-public agencies that have actions and or affect the residents of Bowie, such as WSSC, PEPCO, BG&E, Washington Gas, State Highway Administrations. Obviously, we don't control or have no leverage with these organizations since, the command and control is with the state. But however, the residents of Bowie expect and demand that in many cases, we be their agents with these organizations when they are having difficulties or can't get the support that they want. And that's worked out really well for us because we get a lot of requests for assistance from residents with the aforementioned agencies. The objectives and results for fiscal year 2025 were the Business Operations Division continue to work on enhancing and expanding the city's fiber optics redundancy network infrastructure to all city facilities. The design and implementation of Phase 1 will be modified to include extending the project to the Bowie Golf Course and future ice arena if it's approved. The construction of the project should be completed in June 25. This project has been extended to 2027. We're still trying to work out the funding arrangements associated with the PEG money and what we are authorized to spend. That's out of our control, but that's being worked out at the county level. And for that and management reasons, I propose that we push this project out to 2027 when we'll know all what we have in the funding and we'll be better prepared to manage it. B, in coordination with the city's power purchase agreement partner, business operations continue to work on stage 2 of the solar array project. This project will be expanding to the solar array system for a 2.5 megawatt to 5.0 megawatt system by the fall of 2024. Second stage of this solar array should be completed by September 2025. Permitting and interconnection complications delayed the project, but we're fighting through those currently. C, Business Operations Division will be incorporating security into its functions. It is a security plan to be developed and implemented. That's being moved. That is being moved to the function still exists, but it's being moved to the Community Services Department. If you remember, we have a security manager now that'll be based out of Ken Hill, who will be managing this particular objective. So that's going to be moved for practical purposes in that respect. The objective for 2026, in coordination with the city's power purchase agreements, we're going to continue with the solar array. And as I mentioned, they want to complete that in September 2025. The city's going to be working to, Operations Division, working to expand the city's fiber optic redundant network infrastructure that I mentioned earlier. The design and implementation of Phase 1 will be modified to include the golf course and ice arena if that's approved by the council. There are no significant budget changes in this division. It currently has 5 full-time employees, the director, the business operations, the executive office associate, 1 business operations specialist, 2, and security guards and part-time receptionists. The funding, spending associated with this division is salaries and wages, $361,600, $104,500 in fringe benefits. There's significant spending in printing and binding because this division does it for all the other departments, and materials and supplies. It's essential support for the city department, including stationery, office, computer supplies, copy machine, paper supplies, printing, and graphic shop supplies. And there's $102,900 spent in that particular line item. And other charges, $113,500 for routine mailings and for all city departments. And obviously that's a big operation considering our departments. Any questions regarding the business operation division of the city manager's office?
Council members, does anyone have a question? Any questions from council members? Hearing none, city manager, why don't you proceed?
You bet. Thank you, Mayor. Okay. We're the city clerk's office. The city clerk's office provides support services and assistance to the city council and the city manager. This office is in conjunction with the Board of Elections, is responsible for and making arrangements to conduct administrative preparation for the operation of city elections, as well as the update and maintenance of the voter registration rolls. Additionally, this office maintains and updates the city's codes, makes arrangements and preparations for city council meetings, including setting up city council agendas, taking notes, and transcribing minutes. The city clerk's office maintains official records and documents of the city, answers inquiries about outside agencies, citizens, and government bodies on behalf of the city. This office also arranges interviews for committees, applicants with the city council, prepares and maintains city council calendars, hearing date schedules, the city committee rosters, as well as financial disclosure and conflict of interest data. The city clerk's office is also responsible for countersigning official city documents, maintaining city seal, setting up meetings for the city council, assisting the city staff in researching projects, as well as gathering material for council packets and performing other related tasks as needed. The objectives for 2025 were to update procedures for Board of Personnel appeals and present to the council for adoption by January 31st, 2025. This objective is 50% complete. The Board of Appeals attorneys is reviewing for accurate content and will present the document to the council hopefully by the end of the year, fiscal year. B, B, incorporate the use of the board portal and civic clerk for council access to meeting agenda files. This objective is 60% complete training sessions with each council member is scheduled, and hopefully if it was conducted by February, will certainly be conducted hopefully by the end of this fiscal year. The performance indicators are we project that the number of board and committee members will increase from 112 to 166. Code revisions should be reduced, and otherwise those numbers are even. In 2026, assign records disposal dates for electronic files in Laserfish per approved 2023 records retention schedule by June 30, 2026. 2, develop standard operating procedures to optimize the management of paper and electronic records maintained by the city's clerk's office, ensuring efficiency and streamlined processes by June 30, 2026. There are no significant budget changes in this division. We have 2 full-time employees here, the city clerk and assistant clerk, whom you all know. Salary and wages of $194,700. Fringes is $60,600. And there are no major expenses other than travel and training at $17,700, which includes attendance to the Maryland Municipal Clerks Association and Clerks Academy and local meetings, PGCMA, MML, and such. Any questions regarding the clerk's budget? Any, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, I'm back now. Thank you.
All right. We've completed the clerk's.
Please go right ahead, City Manager.
We completed the city clerk's review, and we're up to questions if anybody, you all have any.
All right, any questions by council members? No. Hearing none, I think that means to move right on, City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's have a little musical chairs here, real quick, and we have our only artillery person on our staff is coming up, so you all must
wearing the necktie tonight, showing the colors.
You set that up, City Manager.
You know why he talks so loud, because the artillery noise and he can't hear anymore. But anyway, I'm presuming that you all have been quiet on the last 2 divisions. You were saving yourself for the economic development. So for the mission of the Economic Development Office is to increase the employment and residential tax base of the city through business retention, expansion, and attraction, tourism promotion, community development, redevelopment, and revitalization, and other business technical assistance. This office serves as a liaison to the business community and to the city's Economic Development Committee, and provides support the local delivery of business assistance programs to various chambers of commerce, regional economic development entities, state offices, and departments and other agencies for economic and community development matters. This office is responsible for the implementation of economic development strategies adopted by the City Council. The objectives for 2025: continued revitalization of Old Town Bowie that coordinates and supports multiple government and community efforts. Cross-departmental staff will continue to provide technical assistance and support to citizen groups to establish an arts and entertainment district in Old Town Bowie, and coordinate with the city staff. Incubate Community Development Corporation, the city's contracted CDC, briefed the council and the community on a revitalization initiative. Also, a successful Fall Festival was produced in October of 2024. And finally, the consultant and economic development intern developed and sent a community survey to Old Town Bowie and the area around it to help prepare for its revitalization efforts. B, continue the business retention program and increase promotion of existing tools and programs, e.g. small business training, assistance services, and city-backed loans. The business retention specialist has called on retail businesses and continues to call on other businesses in the city. The office organized a successful business meetup event in the fall of 2024. Staff verified top employers, 100 or more employees, and almost top employees, 75 to 99 employees. Staff updated the restaurant guide in the city on the city website. Staff assisted as needed on the permit issues with the county. Also, we just successfully had a restaurant week, and that was a booming success, and we certainly something we should do again. And C, continue diversity and expand Bowie's economic base by supporting business attraction. These efforts will support business attraction for office and flex properties at existing commercial locations in the city of Bowie. 1, locate in Bowie advertising placed in select business publications to remind businesses about Bowie as a business location. This year's program included ads in shopping center business, city biz list, and the ongoing outreach to commercial real estate brokerage community continued through the organization such as NAIOP and Coronet Global. The city continued sponsorship of the DC, Maryland chapter of NAIOP and was recognized in printed materials and a virtual event. The city sponsored BizNow, Prince George's County event in September 2024 to promote Bowie's commercial properties. Inovalon met the criteria for the 7th $100,000 incentive payment in the 10-year incentive agreement, which with them to keep their corporate headquarters in Bowie with a minimum of 500 employees. The agreement runs through FY 2028. Staff continue to assist commercial office brokers and landlords in their efforts to convert interested prospects into Bowie business tenants. Prospect activity remains low. D, continue the efforts for retail tenant attraction and retention. The city continued to work with other retail center owners and brokers to attract tenants to vacant city retail space and to assist in efforts to revitalize our retail centers. City staff also talked with city owners and their leasing agents to keep informed about market trends and to identify all issues related to Bowie properties. Retail specific locations and advertising were placed nationally in Shopping Center Business Magazine. This advertising program identifies Bowie as a desirable and profitable retail location. Staff attended the ISCS Mid-Atlantic session in September 2024 to promote Bowie retail locations and support our existing shopping centers in their research for tenants. E, continue to provide city oversight and coordination for small business growth and assistance programs. The city provides oversight for the Bowie Business Innovation Center and coordinates small business center providers' resources, including training and counseling. Staff assisted in the establishment of the Maryland's Women Business Center, Shop Local Accelerate in Bowie. Staff provided the oversight for the Bowie Business Innovation Center, Bowie BIC, in several ways. The city staff member holds a seat on the board and participate in boards meeting. Additionally, the staff reviewed reports submitted by Bowie BIC, asked for additional information if needed for report clarity, and forwarded those reports to the finance director. The city continued to receive small business assistance and counseling services from Maryland APEC, formerly Procurement and Technology Assistance Program, AEX/PTAP, a Capital Region Small Business Development Center, and the Maryland Women's Business Center, MWBC. Continue to support the city's Economic Development Committee. Staff liaison continues to provide administrative support on a monthly basis and report back to city manager and the council. G, incorporate recommendations from the October 23 EDC South Bowie revitalization, which includes, this objective is complete. Funding for the permit assistance was requested in the FY26 budget, and I have proposed it, and additional retail attraction marketing funds were requested. Go to page 70. The projections for 2026 are similar to 2025 with some variations, but not major. The objectives for 2026 were to continue revitalization program for Old Town Bowie, implement the 2025 marketing plan and strategy recommendations, implement permits assistance program to expedite county permits, assuming that we get that person approved, continue the business retention program, continue the diversity and expand Bowie's economic base by supporting business attraction, continue efforts for retail tenant attraction and retention, continue to provide city oversight and coordination of small business growth and assistance programs, continue to support the city's Economic Development Committee, and by December 31, 2025, organize and conduct a retail property owners roundtable meeting with the City Council to discuss community and property standards and expectations. The significant budget changes for this division are addition of 1 FTE, 0.5 FTE for the economic development marketing and specialist grade X116, and that would cost approximately $53,094, and another part-time FTE, economic development permit specialist grade X114 at $46,461.
Go ahead, city manager. I apologize.
No problem. So those persons will go, the numbers will go from, in FTEs, this is wrong in the book, from 2.4 to 3.4, with those two positions both being part-time. That's the proposal. Salaries and benefits, salaries and wages, $440,900, $163,400 in fringe benefits. Advertising is $235,000. We talked about it in the goals. Professional services, $288,000, including an adopted economic development strategy, service fees, the city's revolving loan program. Also includes the broker and prospective events, advertising, graphic designs, and more. There is a subscription licensing, and on page 72, you look down to municipal grants, 55050, you'll see $649,500 to fund the city's contribution to the Bowie BIC, the Small Business Development Center, the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, the Maryland's Women Business Center, and support the grants to the state and county nonprofits supporting city's economic development efforts and funding for economic and community development incentives and grants, and also the incentive for Inovalon that I mentioned earlier. Now, any questions?
City.
Well,
City Manager, do you have a comment to make before I ask my question?
One other thing, sir, we do propose to add an objective, and that would be number 10, and we'll provide you with updates on this. It's to continue work with the EDC and interdepartmentally to develop and refine a revitalization and development vision for the town center area of Bowie to include reimagining the former Regal Cinema property, the former Sears property, the current Macy's property, and the current 4 main shopping buildings in the town center. The first report on concept to the City Council is proposed for September 2025. Now,
City Manager, thank you for that. I appreciate that. But I do have a major question, and that is, with the list of objectives, and you clarified my first question when you said you were only putting in 0.5 FTEs for those 2 areas. I really have to put forth the question, and I know you've done your budget and you've analyzed it, but I have to re-ask the question. When it comes to this economic development, are we applying enough resources to really accommodate the objectives, considering the environment that we're trying to work our way through?
Within the current strategies and guidance council has provided, yes, it's sufficient resources.
Okay, you consider that. Now, my question goes to, when you start bringing in half-times people to work those positions, I mean, will we be able to actually get their full attention, or is there a reason why, I know it's a little more expensive, why we don't bring those people on full-time?
well, Mr. Mayor, this is something new and different, and this is a step up in capacity. We believe that with the number of professionals in Prince George's County and the Bowie, we can get somebody to focus and to start us off. Also, I am concerned about money. I am, so I would rather, my proposal, of course, is that we take some part-timers and let's take a shot at this and see if we can improve our performance in these areas, especially with the permitting process. We're not sure how big an issue is. Of course, now, you may need JC and a couple of apostles to get through DEPA, I don't know. But if this person is really good, and to see how much it helps. But I did not put full-time employees in there because I'm being cognizant of the cost associated with adding FTEs. But if you all would tell us, Ms. Lott, we want you to have full-time FTEs, we would salute the flag and move on. But that was what I did.
Okay, and then Mr. Lott, my city manager, I am giving you that opportunity now as we're trying to save money, and I understand that, and be cost effective in what we're doing, and it's something new. My question to you right now is, as you look at this and as you hear my talking to you and council sitting here, is that what you want? Is that what you want? I mean, I know you're very, very cognizant of the budget climate and what we're going through, but I just want to make sure economic development is going to be so important to us as a city moving forward, that we give you those resources right now to make sure we get ahead of the power curve. And if you tell me from your experiences and from John Henry's insights and all that you think you can do it with this, I will support you on that, but I just want to make sure that we're giving it the best chance we have for success. And so I'll turn it back over to you, and I know that was a long soliloquy, but please, go ahead.
It's my professional opinion that the marketing specialist, that work can be done by part-time person who is conscientious and professional and assertive. Now, but if the council were, we believe that we could fully occupy a full-time permits and specialist because that's a major impediment to
Right.
to new businesses and even businesses that are here. And so that's my answer. We could, if given that a full-time person, we could put them to full use. The marketing person, we think we could do that job currently with the part-timer.
City manager, and I kind of addressed this to council, is I think you should use that individual for full-time. And I think that we should be able to, even on a communications point of view, as we're doing the marketing, let them know that we've even increased our staffing to better equip ourselves to work with the business community, the current one and the future one. So I would pose that to my council. I believe we should increase that one part-time position to a full-time. I know it's not a common thing to be adding to the budget, but I think that would be good for us as a community. Council members, your thoughts. Councilwoman Rogers?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, I'm looking at 10 objectives for fiscal year 2026, which is a lot. So just to prepare for this conversation, I did do some research on, municipal economic development offices. I didn't look at the sizes or the locations, but what I was trying to get at is the more of the strategic, the long-term impact of economic development offices. So when I looked at, okay, what should be the mission, and I see that the mission of our economic development office has quite a bit of activity in this, including things that are very common to economic development offices, but other things that may not be as common, which is business technical assistance. So basically, a economic development office in a municipality should be doing what you're doing, promoting sustainable economic growth and improving the quality of life for its residents. So, that's really clear. But when we get to things like providing, FTEs to support permitting, and I know that's a huge problem. That's a huge problem with the county that we're taking on the responsibility for, the financial responsibility for, which would make us less effective because we have to hire a half of FTE, to help support other things because we're doing things to support the county. I do believe that I believe that we should kind of take a step back and look at what we're trying to achieve with the economic development office. I know that last year, Councilman Brady had suggested that we look at or research an economic development corporation model for the city of Bowie. I think my biggest concern, just kind of doing some research around this and being, actively involved in business, is that I believe that the economic development office is working very hard on a lot of tactical things, which minimizes its effectiveness as far as looking at the future. I do also believe that it's not fully staffed. That 4.4 FTE is probably a lot smaller than what it should be. So I could support making that one half FTE a whole FTE. I don't have a problem with that. But I do believe that as far as strategy is concerned, we're doing a lot of good things. But I think that it should be more strategic and intentional around those things that we do. the things that we know we're going to get the largest bang for the buck. Permitting is a huge issue, I understand that, but the county is responsible for permitting. I know I get calls, I get email all the time around the county and them not responding. And it's a shame that we have to take our hard-earned resources to support that. But the other part to this as well is our policies, our incentives, our community engagement, working with real estate, getting the infrastructure, you know, workforce development, all that is a part of economic development. And I'd like to, I feel like right now, looking at 10 objectives, I feel like if I were in Mr. King's shoes, I'd feel a bit overwhelmed with only 4.4 people supporting me with 10 objectives for the fiscal year. That's my 2 cents. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilmember Esteve, I think I saw you were up next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I hear everything that Mr. Mayor and my colleague are saying. I actually feel in the opposite direction. I think economic development is really important because our residents, for the first time in decades, have suddenly realized that they do care what kind of business environment they have. We spent 10 years along with the county making it very clear that we were anti-growth. And partly as a result of that, partly a result of just long-term issues with Prince George's County competing poorly with its neighbors, we're now in a situation where we're having a hard time attracting and retaining the kinds of independent businesses and restaurants that residents took for granted. Macroeconomics has not helped either, and our current federal policy is definitely going to make our lives a lot more interesting in this regard in the next few years. All that being said, our residents now care about this, and obviously we dropped the word economic development a heck of a lot more than we did even just 4 or 5 years ago. But I see this as an issue where we're going to be under a lot of pressure to spend a ton of money talking about and trying to look like we're doing something about economic development. But I think we have to be realistic that most of the major efforts we've had have run headlong into the reality that we just don't have a lot of control over the kinds of, you know, regional, local, or world events that ultimately dictate what kind of businesses move here, set up, and succeed here. I think that these objectives are great. Let's be clear that most of the work that's being conducted is in that $649,500 worth of grants that we're doling out with a lot of our partners who are doing things on our behalf. And a lot of what our economic development team is going to be doing is just checking in on those grants and just making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. As far as the marketing and the permits, I think starting out with a part-time permit specialist is fine. I think the hardest part that we're going to run into is people aren't going to know to reach out to them. It's just going to be a challenge, you know, getting a small brick and mortar business owner to figure out that they can call the city of Bowie and that we'll have someone here who can just be an extra advocate for them to the county. It's also not entirely clear to me that our permitting specialist would even necessarily be able to move the ball any further. I have a feeling that our permitting specialist is just going to be a conduit to call Councilmember Ingrid Watson, whose office will then try and get DPI to move. But I'm a little skeptical that that person's going to have a whole lot of success other than calling Councilmember Watson, which we encourage everyone to do directly already, since our office is already so responsive. So I personally think that these goals and this staffing is appropriate. Going forward, I'll be interesting to see how it goes. I do think we need to be very open and candid with ourselves and with the public about what we can and what we can't control. And I think that's kind of got to be a big part of how we think about and talk about economic development going forward. We want better businesses. We're willing to do things. We're willing to support residential at Town Center. We're willing to support, you know, residential mixed use in a lot of places. But the fact is, we got to have a lot of very wealthy companies and individuals willing to pour a ton of money in to a county that is not doing itself a lot of favors, making itself an attractive place to invest, in a state that's not doing itself a lot of favors, making itself an attractive place to invest. And we don't control that. And I think it's okay that we say that out loud. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Brady, your thoughts?
Yeah, with regards to this, I'm just a little confused, and maybe I didn't grasp the explanation, but I spent 6 months developing the budget document with the recommendation of a full-time position for the marketing specialist and the permanent specialist. And then we come in tonight and presented with halving that number. So I'm just a little confused on what has changed in the last, say, 48 hours that significantly impacted this recommendation.
Thanks for the question, Councilman Brady. It was a technical error that we just missed as we were formulating the budget. It should have been corrected and not even presented as a full FTE for either position.
So
So it
what,
wasn't a change in philosophy or management position. It was just a technical error that my staff missed as we were going through the process.
okay. Well, I appreciate that, because I did not get that from the city manager's comments, and it's helpful because I think staff is the best at developing the work structure, and we as a council need to defer to a large extent to staff's recommendations. So with that clarification, then I'm more comfortable, although I do think that over time, especially as we work to develop a better strategy for economic development and possibly the creation of an economic development corporation, I think the numbers will probably become full-time equivalents rather than part-time equivalents. So I'm supportive of staff's recommendation.
Okay, Councilman Truesdale?
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Thank you. I echo my colleagues in terms of supporting staff recommendation. I really believe that, with us focusing on the grants, the municipal grants, rather, it's getting late for me. But for the most part, I think we have some great initiatives, and, as we kind of focus on the marketing strategy, strategist that's working with the team, I think that I would like to get some metrics in terms of what has been done from last year to this year, and how we can move forward on that. I think the permitting issues, a lot of small businesses, again, I echo my colleagues, they don't know in terms of what to do after opening these businesses. So it's really important that we have someone that can help in that area. And so I'm definitely approving of the objectives that's here.
Okay, I would like to make one more pass to my colleagues and say that in listening to the city manager, he was being extremely cautious on budget and being cost-wise, but he also said that he could utilize that person with the permitting full-time. I would just ask that you give the staff and to the budget the opportunity to bring that half a body on to make sure that we can accomplish what we need. And if it's somebody that we know can be put to work full time, then let's not in a certain sense hand tie the city staff by not having all of the support they need, because this economic development area is something we've talked about a lot, but we need to see how we progress there. So I would ask my colleagues to agree to increasing that permitting half body to a full-time equivalent. And if I could get your feedback, and I'll just go through because I can't see everyone at once right now. Councilman Stab, your thoughts on increasing that half a man year? Councilman Stab?
Sorry, there's a little crosstalk going on.
Point of clarification, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
All right, I'm looking at the FTE for 2026. I see the Economic Development Director, the Business Retention Specialist, both are one, half FTE for the Economic Development Intern, a full FTE for the Marketing Specialist, and a full FTE for the Permit Specialist.
And
No.
that was a mistake.
That was a
And
mistake.
That was a mistake.
Oh.
That's what they're saying. That was a mistake. So they actually wanted to put in half FTEs there. And my point is, as I looked at that, I thought, okay, there was one area where the city manager said they could, and Mr. King, I think as well, that they could just do half. The city manager expressed that he could put the person doing the permitting and work in that area. He believes he can truly work full-time at that. And so I was just saying, well, let's up that FTE to full-time. Somebody we know would be able to be utilized full-time. And so that's what I'm asking right now. I was just asking us to raise that half FTE to one full-time FTE equivalent.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask a question of the city manager?
Oh, absolutely. Please go right ahead.
All right, thank you. Or to the director. Is the permits specialist work
I got it.
full-time work?
Go ahead.
It can be. Right now, we're covering it with Ms. Andrews is doing it between her other business retention tasks. So with a full-time permit specialist, there's a lot that has to be done. First off, it's making use of the contacts they hopefully already have within DPI, or if not developing those contacts. That's Ms. Andrews' success right now. While Ms. Watt, our council member at the county level, is an important voice, Ms. Andrews deals directly with the DPI permitting people. And person-to-person contact often identifies the real problem and motivates quicker action. A full-time permit specialist is going to give us somebody who can keep that contact, so no matter what happens, our business's permits get through the system. The second thing the permit specialist has to do, which adds to it having enough work for full-time, is that we have to get the word out. And one way to find out if somebody's having a permit problem is not to wait till everything falls apart, but is to assist in Ms. Andrews' efforts talking to our existing businesses. If you walk in the door and say, hey, what's going on, and you have that relationship with the business, we can maybe find out about a permit coming up before it becomes a problem. So long-winded answer, yes, there's going to be sufficient work for a full-time person, should you offer me one.
So I've never in all my years of working and doing budgeting had to beg somebody to take an extra FTE, even if it was a half of one. So this is a unique experience for me, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Councilman Rogers, please don't feel like you're begging. We each start out the budget process at our department level by requesting what we believe we need to accomplish the tasks we've got to do. And we fully support the city manager, who has to aggregate the entirety of the city government and decide, can we operate with what do we absolutely need what we had, or are there some ways to modify it? There's simple things. A half-time position helps prove it if there's a question, if there's a doubt. But you're not begging us to. We're saying we've taken a position that all of us as staff support the city manager's budget. We had our chance to arm wrestle him. If you see a need for additional things, we're certainly happy to use those resources effectively to accomplish the objectives you're assigning us.
Well, thank you for that response. I believe that what it did, I mean, just by having to have this conversation made me basically, I guess I was doubting whether or not there was truly a need for more than an FTE. So that's why, a half FTE. So that's why I asked the question around whether or not the person would be employed full-time. I also recognize and respect the responsibilities of the city manager, who has done an excellent job with maintaining a tight, efficient budget. So I understand that as well. So maybe there's some level of a compromise to just see how effective you are with your half FTE that you guys have agreed to. And when we come back to do a mid-year review to see, I don't know. I'm just trying to, I don't want to overstep what you think you need, but it's just a half FTE. So, I mean, you always have an option, I would believe. But thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well, what I do is, of course, in January, my department directors come in falling on their swords for all sorts of people. You have no idea what I save you all from. But so we do a thorough analysis as to, and in this case, these were 2 new FTEs with taking on some new missions. And so considering the fact that we're adding police officers and adding IT people so we can be a smart city, that's why I saw an opportunity there to take a part-time person, since we have a lot of retired people in their 50s and 60s who are still productive and looking for things to do, and here in Prince George's County. And but if you'll issue me a whole person, we'll use them to the fullest. I promise you that. But I didn't ask, but I'm not asking for that.
Thank you, City Manager. So again, it was my request to the council to have that piece, because I think it's important to really understand if we can make a difference there. I'm thinking if we had the full-time person, we could really tell how we could do it. Otherwise, that half FTE would only be working part-time up until, and so even when we came back, we would only know the results from the part-time space. Again, I don't want to belabor this. This is just something we've talked about so much with economic development. I just thought, particularly on that permitting side, and it's where we are still trying to work with the state and with the county to get some permitting jurisdictions for ourselves, that it would be good to have that person in there. So having said that, without keeping us going over and over on that, I'd just like each council member to just give me an up or down on being able to add that half FTE. And I'll start off with Councilman Esteve, District 1.
This has mission creep written all over it, but I'm going to say yes.
Thank you, Michael. Oh, Councilwoman Rogers.
I'm so confused. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will say yes, and I will allow the director and the city manager to make a determination, particularly mid-year, as to whether or not it's working for the city. Thank you.
I think that's an excellent addition to that. Councilman Brady?
Just a quick question to staff. How long do you think it would take to hire a person into this position? 2 months, 3 months, 6 months?
We think 2 months, but we've not hired this particular skill set before.
Okay. I have no problem supporting that, and any delay in hiring them actually drops that number down for the budget year.
Understood. Thank you, Councilman Brady.
Yes.
Councilman Truesdale?
Yes, I support.
All right. Thank you so much. City Manager, you have a half FTE you did not ask for.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. Thanks for looking out for us.
Moving right along. Any other questions or anything from staff? At least from council members on this issue. If not, we will move on.
Well, thank you, sir. The next is Emergency Management Division. The Emergency Management Office plans, organizes, and directs the emergency management programs in the city of Bowie, and coordinates the planning and organization and execution of local emergency management activities. The office represents the community on all emergency management matters and coordinates activities with local, state, and federal nonprofit and private agencies. The Emergency Management Office oversees the development of maintenance and annual review of the city's emergency operations plan and other preparedness plans as required. In addition, the office establishes and maintains and runs the City of Bowie's Emergency Operations Center, which is state-of-the-art, virtual, and otherwise. During an emergency, the Emergency Management Office coordinates community resources, reports activities, and conditions to the state of emergency management and requests assistance as needed. The office also coordinates damage assessment activities and promptly reports all damage assessments to the county. Additionally, the emergency management provides a wide variety of emergency preparedness, emergency response training opportunities for staff in various community groups, including classes on emergency preparedness, CPR, and incident command. This office also coordinates with the Bowie Police Department on active shooter preparedness and response. The Emergency Management Office is further responsible for the oversight of city's purpose, training, and maintenance of the automatic external defibrillators. As a member of the Facility Security Working Group, the emergency manager works with the group to develop security policies and procedures, conduct regular facility vulnerability assessments, coordinates site monitoring and security contract services at all city Bowie facilities. The city provides ongoing support to the Bowie Volunteer Department to assist in the delivery of their services to the Bowie community. The emergency manager serves as a liaison between the department and the city management to ensure both entities work toward a common goal. As for 2025, Objective A was continue development and updates of emergency action plans for all city-owned facilities. That objective was completed. B, as emergency management preparedness outreach program to educate the public, homeowners associations, businesses, and other organizations on how to be prepared for and prevent emergencies. A new emergency management specialist began work May 31st, 2024. The work has progressed with economic development and communications to develop a database of HOAs and businesses. By June 2025, the emergency management will be reaching out to these organizations to offer emergency preparedness training. C, conduct the emergency response related functional or tabletop exercise by May 31. This objective is complete, and the hosting was completed also. Go to page 74. D, coordinate and conduct an emergency preparedness expo for the community in September 2024. This objective is still being studied. The cost of an expo exceeded our expectations, and we had to back up and take another look at this one, and I think it's going to be we'll look at it for next year, but we couldn't afford to do it even though we initially thought we could. Looking at the work performance and performance indicators, the numbers are generally similar, except we project a number of emergency preparedness packets to be distributed, additional 500, additional 50 CPR and first aid trainings conducted, and going from 8 to 10 emergency operations center activations. The objective for 2026, continue the development and update of emergency action plans for city-owned vehicles, maintain emergency preparedness outreach program to the public, including HOAs, businesses, and other organizations on how to prepare for emergency situations, conduct emergency response related functional and tabletop by May 31st, 2026, and complete and adopt the emergency operations plan and new EOC plan, and conduct training on new EOC operations. There are no significant budget changes in this division. Salary and wages are $281,100, fringe benefits 107, and we have 3 people in the division, 1 director and 2 emergency management specialists. Okay, and if you look at the expenditures, we got 86,900, and this is for medical supplies, for shelter, first aid, disaster preparedness material, CPR equipment for surveillance trailer, EOC equipment, food training events, and that sort of thing. Program supplement, $167,000, where a good part of that money goes to the Bowie Volunteer Fire Department. And that concludes the Emergency Management Division. Any questions for myself or Mr. Cornwell?
Council, does anyone have any questions at this time? Council, anyone have any questions?
No?
Okay, well, going on, I will ask a question here. City Manager, can you help me understand? There are a couple of programs that we initiated, one to fall prevention at the senior center. But one thing I'd like to see, if possible, is to have all of the city staff trained on Stop the Bleed. Now, that's a program that will be paid for by the state. The money is there. As full disclosure, I'm on the board of the Maryland Shock Trauma. And we have the monies available and the personnel to come out and do the training for Stop the Bleed. You will get a free kit that has no expiration on it and a certification. And I'd like to see that. Now, other than just putting together the time to do that, would this fall better under emergency management, or is there a place we can do this? Because we, as a city, have not taken advantage of these programs that are free, and partly because the county has not either. But I've talked with them, they're moving in that direction. I really would like to see all of the city staff trained on Stop the Bleed, which is free, other than their time to be trained. Your thoughts, City Manager?
Mr. Mayor, Lee Cornwell here. We're already doing
Yes,
that.
Lee.
We're already doing that program. We started that program approximately a month ago. We've had 3 or 4 classes that
Excellent.
that class is very popular. We have one instructor in-house, Lori Roper from my team is a certified instructor. We have gotten the kits from the county and have co-located those kits with every AED in the city. So
Excellent.
we have more classes coming up. To date, we have trained 164 people in AED, first aid, and like I say, we started the Stop the Bleed. They changed the name of it. It's now called First Aid for Severe Trauma.
Okay.
And we're doing that program, and we're going to continue that program. It's a very popular program. The classes are filled every time we give it. We give it about once a month. Every other month. And the class is always full.
Okay. Well, on that note, I would really encourage all of the staff to take and complete that class, as well as I would really recommend it to all of the council members to do as well. City Manager, can we put that as an objective to try and get everyone trained within the city staff? Or Mr. Cornwell, Lee, what do you think? I would like to see it pass for everybody.
It would be something that would be nice to have, but probably not a need to have. There's a lot of positions that are in the city that probably would have no need for those folks to be trained, depending on what their position in the city is. Currently, right now, we have, like I said, 164 trained people in AED CPR. That's 42% of our staff. And I would challenge any municipality in our area to be that good and train staff in CPR.
Well, what we can do is shoot for, see if we can improve that number up to 65 over the next year. and considering the workload and we already have to do in EOC. But I think we can shoot for that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, and the reason I say that too, Mr. Cromwell, as you know, it's not just about what they're doing in their daily jobs in the city, but also what happens when they go out into the community and at home and all. So, but I'm very proud of what you've accomplished there. And I really applaud the city for taking the actions and moving forward so fast. And Lee, I should have known you would have been on that. So thank you, City Manager. Thank you, Lee. Any questions or comments from any other of the council members? Hearing none, City Manager, I think we turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Finance Department is next, and then we'll do non-departmental and then police, right? All right. So who's supposed to be next?
Police, I would just do police.
All right. Disregard. Police, come on, take look at the police. All right. They gotta go out and do some real work here. And all right.
Thank you, City Manager.
Okay. So, Bowie Police Department. Police Department protects the lives and property for our citizens and businesses while focusing on proactive community engagement, trust building, and responsiveness. Duties include patrolling, responding to calls for service, identifying, apprehending suspected criminals, safety, traffic safety enforcement, along with community services and other events. Our department strives to identify and adjust the community needs through communications, engagement, and partnerships. One other thing I'd like to note, the department received the certification on accreditation for law enforcement agencies in CALEA in November of 2020. They have retained that, and that's something we have to maintain. It's no small feat, understanding that probably less than 5 or 10% of the police departments in the country have managed to get that accreditation. So if we can move down the objectives for 2025, develop and employ and complete a comprehensive marketing and recruitment strategy geared toward identifying and hiring vacant positions for sworn officers, dispatchers, and other department positions by June 30, 2025. That objective was complete. With regard to recruitment, just, Mr. Einstein, I think it was, just said, you keep doing the same thing, expecting a different outcome, everybody knows that. So, what I never did, last year, what I put in the budget was to get us a recruitment professionals to help us market the city's police department to people who want to work in places like Bowie, want to be the police here. And so we are taking that shot, and we've got a great company working with us, and we think that we're going to be in better shape, and more people in the nation are going to know about Bowie and how great it is to be a police officer here. Develop and implement a three-pronged approach based upon education, prevention, enforcement, focus on vehicle, cyclist, and pedestrian safety. This plan will consist of information sharing through social media and other publications, community meetings, and directed enforcement efforts by June 30, 2025. This message was communicated through the monthly Community Matters meeting, as well as outreach efforts through social media postings. This development implementation will continue till the end of the fiscal year and will be completed by June the 30th next month. Develop a comprehensive training program to develop sworn and civilian members for supervisory positions by June 30, 2025. That objective was complete. Lucent training presented 2 days, leadership class for the command staff and other PD civilian supervisors. This company also conducted a 1-day supervisor class for all first-line supervisors. So if we go to page 78, we look at the numbers in the 24 as opposed to compared to 2023, because it's different for the police department when we're projecting numbers. There have been some increases in residential burglaries. Commercial burglary reports were up by 20. And I think theft from autos, that was a significant change, but the chief is prepared to talk about that. The objective for this year, 2026, incorporate online citizen reporting for minor police-related incidents. That's a process that's being worked out between the police department and IT. It will reduce the number of in-person responses for police incidents in which there are no threat to the public and a need for or need to collect evidence. It also allows officers to focus on proactive patrolling. Number 2, hire two police cadets to assist with the community events, dispatch, and other security-related details. Yeah, so, and the cadets we're talking about would eventually, hopefully, migrate into the Bowie Police Department. Significant budget changes is adding 2 police cadets, grade Y 109, at $141,583, and an additional 3 police officers at $319,827. And we suspect that we believe that our marketing efforts will be successful, and so we've added those numbers to an essential function. If you look at page 79, you'll see that currently we have 87.5 employees in the police department, and we propose to move to 92.5 with the addition of those 2 cadets and those 3 additional police officers. If you look at the salary and wages on page 79, $10,157,200. Fringe benefits, $5,798,500. Contractual insurance issues, $185,300. $885,100 for professional services, includes the speed camera program costs and other contractual services which are outside the capabilities of the police department. If you flip to page 80, we got a repair and maintenance, provides preventive maintenance and repairs on police vehicles. The police department manages the maintenance on their own cars as opposed to our garage. The material and supplies, computers, printers, phones, office furniture, $208,000, $213,000 for fuel, gas, and oil. Obviously, that's a high expense. And $65,000 for protective uniform and protective apparel related to, putting a fully equipped police department on the streets. Any questions about the Bowie Police Department budget?
Council, does any council members have any questions at this time? Please let me know if you have any questions. I don't hear anything. I will put one thing forward to Chief. I have a question as to whether or not we can include resiliency training for all of our officers. During this time with all the stress and other things going on, I think it would be good to go through a resiliency training. So, of course, just to add to some support for what you may already be doing for officers. Your thought on that?
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. One of the things that we're required to do by the Training Commission and by state law is that every 2 years, all sworn officers are mandated to have a psychological evaluation. So that's already mandated and built in terms of to monitor, the mental well-being, of our sworn officers. Obviously, as well, we have a volunteer police chaplain that makes himself available to all city staff, and as well as the existing city resources for EAP programs that currently exist. It is something that we build into our in-service training to, make sure that we're monitoring our officers in terms of their emotional well-being. And so, at this point, I'm not certain if additional training is necessary, given the efforts that we're already conducting.
Okay, so you think for right now you're covered, and that additional resiliency training for all of your staff, you just don't feel it's needed right now?
I don't believe so. I think the efforts that we're already taking already cover it.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Any other comments or questions from any of our council members? Hearing none, I'll turn it back over to you, City Manager.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Last but not least is the Finance Department. For those who don't know, the Finance Department functions to provide financial information needed for policy administration decisions. The financial information is used to assess the existing financial position of the city as a whole or of a particular fund, program, or department. Also to forecast financial positions over given future time, monitor and control the flow of revenues and expenditures to maintain accountability for funds, and to operate the city within legal and budgetary constraints. So maintain the city's certificate of achievement for financial reporting that was submitted and received the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for FY 2025. Coordinate the annual budget process and fiscal year end and mid-year review, which we'll be coming back to you all in February, right? With that, and then, so we have the annual budget it starts with us in November, and now I think it almost started in October. And to get to a proposed budget that to you all, which you all can accept or modify any way you like. The mid-year process began in 2024 in November, and so we've compiled all the data and presented it to you. If we could move to page 86, our workload indicators are seem to be rather stable. Just note that we still retain AAA ratings from Moody's, Standards & Poor's, and Fitch, which is no easy task. In Albany, Georgia, it took an awful lot to get to the AA rating, and we're all private. So this is something very exceptional. For Objectives 2026, we're going to endeavor to get the city's certificate of achievement for financial reporting and the Distinguished Budget Award. And once again, major operation, they're going to be getting us ready for this budget process. And also what's not mentioned here is the amount of work and preparation that's required by the Finance Department to support the annual audit. There's just an extremely large amount of information that our staff has to provide those people so they can get that audit straight. I think you guys were briefed on that last month. The salaries and wages are $1,169,400. Fringe benefits $370,600. Independent audit and accounting $100,004. Professional services, the Armored Car, bank fees $86,600. And we pay for software subscriptions because everything is automated, obviously, these days. And we attend the GFAO equipment and other finance-related seminars and conferences and conventions that keeps us current in the public funding, local government funding requirements. So, any questions of the Finance Department regarding their budget? Oh, by the way, I did leave a thing. There are, full-time equivalents of 12.6 And I think we demonstrated from the wastewater treatment that some of them work toward that as opposed to the general fund issues. What questions do you have for the Finance Department?
Council members, anyone have any questions for the Finance Department?
None.
Okay, thank you. City Manager, back over to you.
Non-departmental was the last name. Well, Mr. Matthews will brief you on the non-departmental component on start on 155 of the budget.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Matthews.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Thank you, Mr. Lott. I wanted to take you to page 155 for the general fund non-departmental section of the budget. This section of the budget basically identifies expenditures that, one, cannot be identified other areas throughout the budget. So we basically have those things that we cannot apply to a particular department or division in this section. It also handles all of the debt service that's handled on the general government side. So I'll just go through this page with you, and we'll talk about the categories that we handle. Debt service and the contractual services, other charges and transfers to other funds. First category is the debt service that I want to go over. That's the public improvement bond of 2015, which is basically the refunding bonds that were issued for the City Hall. Those bonds were refunded in order to get a better interest rate throughout the maturity of that particular bond. The second bond was a public improvement bond of 2019 that was used to basically support all the capital projects in our CIP. The initial offering there was to handle the construction of the new ice rink. And as that item failed, those monies were reallocated to all of the capital projects programs that the city has. Next, we show you the public improvement bonds of 2024 that we were listing here for the new ice arena. We believe that based on the numbers at the time, the principal portion would have been $1 million along with the interest of closely to $830,000. We recently received the bids on the new ice arena. Staff is talking about those. We'll also have the financial advisors for the city to come to us and give you some information on funding the new ice arena if it's approved by council. The next section is the contractual services. Basically handles the comprehensive insurance that covers most of the real estate buildings that the city has. Next section is our professional services. They handle a smaller portion of consultant fees and employee benefits that is needed from time to time. On page 156, we continue with our other charges. Category of educational reimbursements for $30,000. The city provides a benefit to all city employees to reimburse them 2/3 of the cost for any continuing education approved by their supervisors and the HR department. The next category is incentive awards. This is throughout the entire general government area. The water and sewer has its own allocation for incentive awards, $25,000. Next category is reserved for contingency. The city has put aside $300,000 for any unforeseen activity that will cause additional costs to the city. So we will be prepared to act promptly should something come to our attention. The next category is a reserve for personnel adjustments that handles all new higher positions that come in higher than the minimum amount, also all bonuses and that may be issued to an individual during the year. Next two categories deal with the transfers from the general funds to fund major construction in our capital projects area. That's $5,675,900. And our other fund, the Equipment Acquisition and Replacement Fund, which we set aside money each year to fund that project so that we will be able to purchase equipment as needed on our annual schedule. We propose to spend $2,215,700 there. Our next page, 157, is just a itemized look at the debt service that's currently outstanding. And as I referenced earlier, the refunding bonds that we had in 2015 and the bonds for 2019, which were initially slated for the ice arena. City Manager, I am complete with giving the explanation for the non-departmental section of the general fund.
Any questions for Mr. Matthews on that fund?
Council members, do you have any questions at this time?
Yes.
Council Member Brady?
Yeah, thank you. Under the other charges, the educational reimbursements, typically, how much of that is actually used by employees, and how do we get the word out to encourage employees to utilize that?
Mr. Brady, thank you. We don't use as much as we would like to use, but it is encouraged by all supervisors. I know in my department, I have a young lady that's working on her degree in accounting right now, and she's benefiting from the educational reimbursement plan here. Again, it's also fostered by the HR department, who is really the point agency to get this out to the city employees. We would like to do all we can there, but it's really up to the employee to take advantage of the opportunity.
Well, let me chime in here. It's one of the, when we have new employees, they receive a briefing from HR. They are appraised at this, but of course people forget. But what we could do is we have an email network that we could remind people periodically that this is a benefit that exists.
Right.
And in my opinion, the reason I keep putting it in the budget, I don't like referencing the federal government, but I did work there for 5 years. But one of the things they did right that I noticed was that they measured how well people liked working where they were. And they called it the best place to work operation. Well, I work for the Department of Education, which may not be here anymore. However, my wife worked for NASA. NASA was at the top of the list, and the Department of Education was in the 50, far down. And so we endeavored at Ed to raise that situation so that people enjoyed and liked their work and thereby were more productive. So, I thank you for the prompting. We will advertise this more because it's one of the benefits that makes Bowie a good place to work. Now, so far, by my observation, because I get to sign the documents, the police department's taken advantage of this more over the last 8.5 years. But I'd like to get more of our especially our white collar guys and some of our public works people, to take advantage of that and make them better educated and higher performers. So I'll do that.
Okay. Yeah, I had a rich uncle pay for my undergraduate through the GI Bill, and I had my master's was from Johns Hopkins, came via employer support. They reimbursed me the cost of it. So I think it's a good program, and I think we ought to advertise it, encourage it. And I'm assuming that any coursework that is job related is paid for by the city, unrelated to this account number.
Oh, yes. If it's training specifically related to being a good policeman or being a good accountant, sure, we certainly pay for that training. But we encourage people to get bachelor's degrees and associate's degrees in these fields and/or other fields. We ask that they pass the courses, and we've never had a problem with that yet.
Okay.
But it's underutilized, you're right. So it's something we can work on.
Okay, thank you. And then just for clarification, on page 155, there's under debt service, you've got the information about the 2015 bond, 2019 bond, 2024 bond, but 2 pages later in 157, there's only 2 tables that deal with the first 2. Am I missing something with regard to the third one, the 2024?
No, you're not, Councilman Brady. The way that we display the debt service, we only show the actual schedule for those things that are actually in place right now. The next bond that I'm showing you for 24 would be for the current ice arena, which there is no debt service for it at this point.
For the one we're thinking about building?
Right.
Okay, just want to make sure. Thank you for that clarification. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other questions from any other council members? I haven't heard anything, so with that, I assume there are no other questions. Mr. Matthews, as always, you present a good, clean presentation to us, and I want to say thank you to you. And I'll turn it back over to you, City Manager.
Well, Mr. Mayor, that completes our assignment for this evening, and we're for this work session. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go, I would like to extend a thank you to the council, to you, City Manager, and to the staff, and again to Mr. Matthews for this budget that you all have put together. And at this time, I will entertain a motion from council.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we adjourn. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please respond with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same favor. Hearing none, motion carries. Hey, thank you again, everyone, and to everyone at home, and to all the staff for making this possible. Thank you and have a good night.